Capital Hoops in the building today with our main man, T. Johnson, former Jackson Reed coach, new assistant coach at UMass Lowell. T, welcome to the program.
So, Mark, appreciate you for having me.
So, big news broke earlier this week. I think it was this week, right? Uh,
Yep,
that you're headed north. The high school days are now in the rear view.
yep,
It's like the AAU days are now in the rear view as well, or they're going to be soon.
yep.
Um, tell me about T. Johnson's new gig.
Uh, I've accepted the position at assistant coach position at UMass Lowell in the America East. Ready for it, excited. Just a new journey, but ready to get my head down and work.
Tell me about kind of the decision, the process of getting this job. Um, I know there were kind of some rumors out there for a little bit. T could be leaving, but
Mhm.
nothing was concrete at all. But kind of how did everything kind of come together?
Uh, so I had applied for this job last year and didn't get it. So Coach Duke he kept my resume on file and circled back this year, but it was a lot to consider. I got down to almost the last round of interviews for the Gonzaga job as well. So was just trying to weigh my options there, and then just had to make sure that it made sense for my family and myself to make that move.
You mentioned the Gonzaga job. There was a lot of rumors about that job. A lot of people in the mix. Everyone had
Yeah,
their eye closely on kind of what was going on over there.
yeah,
What,
heavy
what
hitters.
was
That's a great job.
Absolutely. Tell me about that. I mean, as much as you want to get into detail, what was that process like? And did I know you're a Gonzaga alum, which probably there's
Yeah,
some emotional attachment to it, in addition to being an incredible high school job. But how,
yeah.
how was that? What was that like?
Uh, it was like any other job, probably 3 rounds of interviews. And then I know the last one was in person, but met with the AD and other alumni, and it was just like a panel interview, and then we had to submit a resume application, and then just a series of questions that they asked over the course of those rounds of interviews.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, everything happens for a reason. Maybe not Gonzaga this time, but I know the college ranks is something that many high school coaches, aspire to crack into that.
For
So,
sure.
congrats on this.
I appreciate
But
that.
let's talk about your Jackson Reed days. A lot of very fond memories.
Yeah.
Um, from winning our summer league to obviously, doing the great things that you guys did in the DCIAA and the DCSAA. Talk about some of your fondest memories at Jackson Reed.
Uh, I mean, it's hard to pick. I feel like what will stick out with me the most is just the fans showing up to GW for,
Yeah.
for the state games. Like that was big. Like I've never experienced something like that before, and it almost felt like the whole school came out to support us. So just the fact that we were able to build that community during my time and have the whole school support, and then just being in the hallways after those games, like win or lose, just to see how like heavily invested like the student body and faculty were with the team. I mean, obviously winning the DCIAA championship, those are great memories. In my first year with June, Rob, Marvin, Joe McCray, Noah Richmond, like winning that first one, that was an amazing feeling just because it was my first one. It was my first year as head coach, and then I kind of took off from there. But it just provided a, I guess, relief for the school just to know that the school was still in good hands, and we were still able to keep that continuity and be a powerhouse of the DMV.
So over the past like 15 years or so in the DCIAA, it always
Mhm.
seems like there's one team that's kind of like a top of the pack. You
Yeah,
had like the Coolidge teams with like Kalen Cumberlander and Deshaun Mormon, and like they were the team. And then
yeah.
you had Roosevelt, with all the guys they had there, Jabril Faulkner and all those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Then like Coolidge had a little run where it was them, and now I'm not Coolidge. Who am I missing? It just
Cardoza had a run.
yeah,
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 nah,
Cardoza,
you right
right,
though.
right.
Coolidge got it back. They had a run too.
Yeah, but it always seems like there's like one team atop the field, and maybe like the parity isn't like it seems a little weird. But my question for you is
Hmm.
Jackson Reed going to be able to sustain? being a top of the pack with your departure? Or is there someone else primed to slide in there and be, that team for a few years?
Yeah, I mean, I believe that Jackson Reed is still set up to be top dog. It's still good players here. Still some good guys on the staff that I believe and trust. And when they make the decision of who will get the coaching job, I'm hoping that it's one of the guys that's on the staff currently, just to keep the continuity. But no, for sure, I believe. I mean, I'm a Tiger myself, so I want them to continue to strive and be good. But I think it's still enough here to do that. Just the landscape of the school too, high academic, great diversity. So kind of gives you that private school feel. So I just think the school sells itself. We've been able to win for basketball, so I think that's what kind of sets us apart, really.
Is there any reason why you think that the thing I mentioned about like there's always like a leader in the pack and
hmm
like that's just kind of random, right? Or is there any like rhyme or reason to it?
I mean, I think it could be the coach, like the relationship that the coach has with the kids in the area during that time. And again, kids want to win, so like Coach Rob at Rose has done a good job at winning. So it's not hard to convince kids to come there if you want to win a championship. Coolidge has a great history. They've been doing well when Von Jones was there. Durkee's taken over and
Yep,
hasn't gotten over the hump yet, but he's been doing a good job at keeping those guys close enough to win. So I just think it's the relationship with the coaches and how well they're doing at that time.
gotcha. All right, different subject for you. It seems like every year you're coaching like multiple All-Star games.
Mhm.
How many All-Star games do you think you've coached over the past 3 or 4 years? Like
uh,
every year it's at least one, if not two, I feel like. Does that sound accurate?
no, that's accurate. That's accurate. That's
Why
accurate.
are why are you the guy everybody calls on to be the All-Star game coach?
I mean, I think with the success that we've had, I think people like that, and I think just the overall relationships.
Right.
I try to have relationships with everyone in the area, just so that you never know who you need.
Yep,
And it's a great area with a lot of talent. I know that my goal was to get to where I'm going at one point, so I had to make sure that relationships were intact, so that when I make my move to a college job, I'll be able to come back and still be connected and get some of these guys.
for sure, for sure. So let's talk about that. Now you're gone. Now you are connected. How are
Yeah.
you gonna parlay all that into success from a recruiting standpoint? Like what's the game plan?
I mean, I feel like the American East is similar to the DCIAA, where like we on the power conference, but you build the relationships long enough. If it doesn't work out for a guy at the power conference, he could always drop back. So like
Or
with me, I coach PYBL, coach AAU, and I always push guys to the private schools coming out in eighth grade. And then if it didn't work out, my relationship was outstanding, so that they could always come back and have an opportunity here. So I think continue to use that method to get guys to transfer down if necessary, and just try to continue to win.
that sounds like a good recipe. How hard of a decision was it to make this jump?
Uh,
You lived in DC your whole life, or have
my
you?
whole life, man.
This is like first time you've ever not
Yeah,
lived in the 202 or
yeah. I
whatever.
mean, for college, I was up in Vermont, so I've experienced New England before, but
Right.
first time moving home base, man. Very tough decision, just because, again, like I've been at Jackson Reed for 8 years. I work here as well, so the community here, the relationships here, like with the student body, with the staff, it's this is home for sure. So no, it's definitely tough, but I think it's a challenge that I'm ready to accept. And then they say, man, you don't grow in comfort, you grow in uncomfort. So
Yeah.
UMass would be uncomfortable at first, but I got to get up there and figure it out.
Do you have plans on when you're gonna? I assume you'll be working in these upcoming Scholastic Live periods in some capacity.
Yeah, I gotta see what they have for me when I get up there. I mean, my hope is that I'm able to return to the first DC DMV live and be able to sit on the sidelines to see some of good basketball that these guys gonna play.
Yeah. Where is Jackson Reed right now, basketball wise? In terms of roster, in terms of what you guys have coming back. Are you worried guys could potentially leave? It seems like every time there's a coaching move,
Mhm.
some guys jump ship. Like, what are your thoughts on all that?
We've encouraged families to test the waters just to see because we don't want to make it. Me, I don't want to be biased. Like obviously, I'm here. I can tell a parent, hey, keep your kid here, but I'm not, so I can't be selfish. And they say like, well, you're leaving and you're trying to tell us to stay. So we've encouraged parents to like go see what's out there, see if it's a better fit. But if it's not a better fit, we want all the guys to stay. I think it's still enough here to be pretty good in the DMV. Like we won the huddle foundation had an event over the weekend
Yep.
with some really good teams there. We were able to win a championship there. So I think it's still enough to be successful in the area for sure.
I gotta ask you from a selfish perspective or whatever. You guys were a juggernaut in summer league for a long time.
Yeah.
I always had a lot of fun, giving you guys the little name tag to slap up there in the playoffs, and you guys had just a ton of success. Do
Mhm.
you got any like fond summer league memories over the past, over your tenure there?
Uh, I think it's a few being able to win the summer league. That was pretty cool.
Yeah,
Uh, just seeing us lose the year before and then have all these guys come back and then just win it. And then it was crazy because it was AAU too. So we was running from AAU back to summer league, back to AAU. So just being able to win summer league, I won summer league twice. And then my first time, I was assistant coach at the time, but we had the twins, Jay Heath,
yeah,
and it was just all those guys just transferred in. Jay was returning, but the twins had just transferred in. So
yeah,
just trying to figure out that chemistry and getting everybody on the same page. And then we beat St. John's in a championship for that summer league. So
yeah, yeah.
no, I mean that was fun. But even and I you allowed me to coach one of the All-Star games too. Like that was a pretty cool experience.
Goes
Yeah, that
back
was a
to
pretty cool experience.
my All-Star game question before.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, I Lucas Sakasi winning MVP, that was awesome for me because he
Yeah.
wasn't one of these dudes who came out there like every other MVP and averaged like 25 a game, like he
Yeah.
averaged
No, Lucas
thir-
Lucas
he
did
averaged
everything.
he averaged 13 a game, but he averaged 8 dimes and 7 rebounds and 4 steals, and y'all were like, I want to say undefeated or maybe had one loss that year.
Yeah, I think we had one loss, but no,
Yeah,
Lucas had a great summer. So I
yeah.
mean, I think it was fitting. Like he won the MVP and then proved hey why he won it by winning us the championship
He's got to potentially be a guy on your radar at
for
UMass.
sure, for
Yeah,
sure, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, like if he does well enough and the head coach loves him, I'm gonna do my best to try to get him with us.
Yeah, yeah. All right, T. Well, any other parting words? You've had a tremendous run. I'm sure you'll be missed, but I'm sure we'll be seeing you a lot down here as your DC roots run thick. But any parting words or memories or anything you want to share before we jump?
Uh, no, for sure. I mean, want to thank Jackson Reed for supporting me during my time here. Team Durant, Wayne Pratt for giving me the opportunity to be on that EYBL platform. Thanks to you as well, just for keeping us in the mix with your showcases, summer leagues, and just the overall media. Uh, and then I would say like Delavia for broadcasting all of our stuff. Ron Bailey's another guy that does a good job at uh, pushing my brand, pushing the Jackson Reed brand. And then I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of people, but no, just thanks for the overall support of the DMV area. And then I mean, I just look forward to seeing Jackson Reed continue to be great, and then just DMV basketball continue to thrive.
Well, I appreciate it, T. Very well said. I appreciate it. It's been nothing but a pleasure working with you over the years. You've been a stand-up guy, which I really appreciate. And I wish you nothing but luck, my man.
Appreciate you, Mark.
All right. T. Johnson,
Yes, sir.
out.